All right. Hello, everyone. Today we are back with another Spider-Man podfic. So I'm actually looking for this one to be a longer one. But I am waiting for some permissions right now. So I'm doing some more Ali_Ali. Today I am going to do a few fics from Irondad Oneshots, one of Ali_Ali's series. They are not connected. I do not believe they are literally just one-shots. But I will be doing them together just so I can make a longer fic because I feel like reading. All right, so we will go into the first one. This is First Time by Ali_Ali. This is 371 words, one chapter. Summary. After May dies, Peter moves in with Tony and they start bonding. But what if Peter accidentally says what they were both thinking? All right, let's begin. Peter Parker lived in the town for 3 months now. Peter Parker lived in the tower for 3 months now. May died from cancer, and Peter had nowhere to go, so Tony adopted him. During these months, they really bonded, and now they acted like father and son. This story begins one morning when Peter was getting ready for school and Tony was making him breakfast. All the Avengers were on a mission and Pepper had an important meeting to attend, so it was just them. Peter enters the room when Tony is almost finished with his food. "Hi, buddy, how was your sleep?" he asks quietly while flipping a pancake. "It was all right. I'm still kind of tired, though. How was yours?" Peter answers, yawning. "Same, actually. I had a project to finish, and I kind of forgot about sleep." "You should really get Friday to set you alarms for basic human needs." Peter stretches and sits on a bar stool. "Yeah, probably," Tony shrugs and pours orange juice to a glass. He flips the last pancake, waiting a bit longer, and then he puts them on a plate. "Here you go, Pete," he said, handing it to Peter. "Thanks, Dad." Peter's eyes widened when he realized what he just said. Even though they were so close, they never actually got to that stage. I'm sorry, it just slipped. Tony cuts in the middle of Peter's sentence. "It's all right, son." He pulls Peter into a hug and starts to play with his hair. Peter wraps his arms around Tony's waist and puts his head close to the arc reactor. They stand like that for a few minutes. Finally, Tony pulls away. "Eat before it gets cold." "All right, Mum." Peter rolls his eyes. "Wait, so I'm a mum? I was a dad just a few minutes ago, and now Mom," he said in a mocking tone. "Gods, you're so annoying," Peter says with a wide smile. "So, can I call you Dad?" he asks hesitantly. You just did it, and now you're asking me for permission?" Tony raises an eyebrow. "Of course you can, but only if I can call you son," he says, noticing how Peter hesitated before asking this question. "Deal," Peter says, beaming at him. "Great, son. Great, Dad." All right, I love that. All right, we are going to the next fic in this series, which, again, not connected. They are individual one-shots. This one is called Father-Son Telepathy, obviously by Allie_Allie. It has 197 words with one chapter. Summary. Steve and Rhodey gossip about the strange relationship between Peter and Tony. All right. Steve and Rhodey sitting on couches in the Avengers compound in the living room. Steve. You know, Rhodes, I sometimes don't understand Tony and Peter. Like, last time I was in Tony's lab to fix something, AC/DC was blaring at max volume. Both of them were singing while they were on opposite sides of the room, but it only took one wave of Peter's hand, and Tony handed him some sort of tool, and apparently it was the right one. Rhodey. Yeah, I know. It's kinda creepy. A few weeks ago, I came down there to tell Tony something, but he was deep into some sort of formula. He was visibly struggling with it, but he just knocked on the table a couple times, and Peter said 41.95. It had to be a correct answer because Tony just said, "Thanks, kid," and got back to work. Peter was on the other side of the lab, and the board with this formula was backwards to him, so he couldn't see it. Steve. Well, I don't know how are they doing this, but I think we need to ask Wanda to check if their brains aren't connected. Rhodey. Yeah. Notes. I saw something like this as a Tumblr post somewhere a long time ago, and I can't find it, so have this. Alright, that's a great one. I love that. I love them having telepathy. Alright, we are going to continue on to the next work in this series. This is called Phone Call. It has 841 words and obviously one chapter. Summary. Tony called Peter in the middle of his lesson. What could possibly happen? Notes. This is one of my favorite Irondad prompts. I'll never have enough. Also, it was a bit inspired by a work called Glowy Green Slime by Samus. I can't say that name, and I'm worried I'm going to completely say it wrong, so I'm not going to try. You can check out the fic if you want to check it out. It's amazing, and I totally recommend it. So, let's get into the fic. Peter was having a fairly good day. He wasn't tired from patrol. Flash mostly just ignored him, and it was his last lesson. It was physics with Mr. Harrington, his favorite teacher. Mr. Harrington was really nice. Thought well and didn't mind Peter being late or asleep during lessons as long as he answered questions correctly. Sorry, I heard something. Where was I? Oh, there. Didn't mind Peter being late as long as he answered questions correctly. There was only one thing Mr. Harrington could be disliked for. He despised phone calls. No, he despised phones. Every time someone's phone rang during a lesson, they had to answer it on speaker. That's why everyone always double-checked if they had put their phones on silent before the class started. And Peter could be counted as everyone in this case. His phone was on silent and only important calls could get through. So Peter was sitting peacefully in the quiet classroom when suddenly his phone started blasting Back in Black by AC/DC. This could only mean one thing. Tony Stark was calling. Everyone was looking at him when he struggled to take out his phone, to turn it off. Just when he wanted to decline the call, Mr. Harrington stopped in front of him and extended his arm to take the phone. "Parker, you know the rules. Answer and put it on speaker," he demanded. "Yes, Mr. Harrington," Peter grumbled. "Karen, answer the phone. Answer and put it on speaker, please." "Sure, Peter." There was a beep indicating picking up the call, and Mr. Stark's voice rang through the quiet room. "Pete, where are you?" Mr. Stark sounded concerned, but also kind of amused. "At school, Mr. Stark." "Why?" When Peter said that, he instantly knew it was a mistake. While a few moments earlier the class was at least pretending to be doing the worksheet they were given, now everyone was straight up looking at him. "Because I would love to know why my whole lab is covered in pink glitter and green slime, including the ceiling somehow." "Oh, I'm kind of in the middle of a prank war with Uncle Clint, and I was making this slime that I was planning to pour on him. It was supposed to expand when in contact with water, so he would have to think how to wash it off, and I was testing if it worked by adding small amounts of water. But I was really tired. It was like 12 a.m., and my Peter tingle was kind of dulled. And that was when Uncle Clint decided to prank me. So in one moment, it was quiet, and on another, Happy Birthday started blasting on full volume, and pink glitter started falling on me. I startled, dropped the water container right into the slime, jumped, slipped, and passed out from exhaustion. Uncle Clint took pity on me and took me to my room, but the slime and glitter stayed there, Peter explained in one breath. His class and teachers were all staring at him, and he felt his cheeks burning. "At least it worked. My slime, I mean," he added quietly. Suddenly, a loud laughter could be heard on the other side of the speaker. "Oh my Thor, you really are something else, Ruse. I'm glad your experiment worked, but when you get home, you and Clint are cleaning this all up." "Sure, Mr. Stark. See you later," Peter answered, and just when he was about to hang up, his class shook from their trance. Okay, there's no way puny Parker knows Tony Stark and even has access to his lab. He is just a pathetic orphan. There's no way this is real, Flash stated loudly. Unfortunately, Mr. Stark heard it. "What did you just call Peter?" "And now, you know what? Don't answer that. Be there in 5. And he hung up, before Peter could react in any way. "Yeah, sure, like believe you," Flash smirked. "Okay, class, back to your worksheets." Mr. Harrington clapped his hands and sat down at his desk. And so they did, but after 5 minutes, knocking could be heard at the Knocking could be heard, and the person opened without an invite. It was, of course, Tony Stark. "Hi, Pete, Ted, MJ," he greeted them, and then looked at the class. "Which one of you insulted my kid?" Tony asked with an angry face, and almost the whole class pointed at Flash, who sat there mortified. "You. If you even look at Peter in the future, you'll have a doorstep full of angry Avengers. Understood?" "Yes, sir." Flash quickly nodded. "Come on, Pete. We're leaving." Mr. Stark looked at Peter and motioned him to get up. Sir, you can't just come here and take one of the students out of class. You need a guardian's permission. Mr. Harrington spoke up, but it didn't sound at all convincing. Good thing I'm his guardian. Come on, kiddo, let's go home, Mr. Stark answered, and put one arm over Peter's shoulders, guiding him out of the room. The class sat there shocked for a few more moments before Ned spoke up. He told you he had an internship. All right. That will be the end for this wonderful reading. I believe the next one is a little longer. Yeah. Okay, so I'm not going to read that yet. This was amazing. I love Allie's work so much. They're amazing. You should definitely head over and give them kudos. I have this written down somewhere, sorry. I hope you enjoyed the fics. I did several because I wanted to get a longer one out, just to give you guys something a bit longer to read, but I'm waiting for some permissions for some slightly longer fics that I want to do, obviously. But I haven't got them yet. So, right, any mistakes? Sorry for any mistakes and background noise. Hope you liked it. Bye.